What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of The Rent Check. It is your co-host, Francisco Rojas, along with my lovely co-host, Ashlee Woods. Ashlee Woods, happy Monday. How you doing over there in Tuscaloosa?
Happy Monday. Tuscaloosa is a little chilly, but it's sunny outside, so that's okay. I'm doing great. I survived Auburn. I survived the Iron Bowl. I made it alive. I'm now here, ready to talk this abysmal loss to the.
I was gonna say, we're over here, we're upset that the Eagles lost, but you're also you're breathing a sigh of relief down there, right? Because you guys almost lost to Auburn.
Almost. It was really close. We were right there. I was sitting in the press box what is going on here? Why are we making Auburn's defensive line look like Georgia's defensive line? Poor Bryce Young got lit up all day long. Took it like a champ, though. Well,
listen, we could say, I know you could sit here and talk about Alabama football all day long. We're kind of going to do that right now. Yeah. But let's talk about a team that we didn't breathe a sigh of relief after a terrible loss to a terrible New York Giants team. Eagles were on a 2-game winning streak, looking to make it 3 in a row. Look, at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts had a terrible game, Ashlee Woods. Nick Sirianni in the first half decided to get away from the run game. That was doing what was best for the Birds the last couple of games, last 3 or 4 games. It was the big strength of the team. But I got to say, this is more of a Jalen Hurts problem yesterday. Jalen Hurts had a terrible football game. 3 INTs. Look, Jalen's going to have to throw the ball sooner or later, and it happened yesterday. And it was apparent that he was the reason that they lost his football game. I know a couple of drops from Jalen Reagor, I know part of it wasn't the best scheming we've seen from Sirianni, but Jalen on some of these just simple reads that turn into INTs. Like at the end of the first half, where he could have just thrown the ball away, or I don't know if they had a timeout, but he could have just thrown the ball away. Simply put, threw the ball away. Instead, it gets picked off, and you don't get any points there. Jalen Hurts is all around. Just did not. He had his worst game of his career, and to me, Hurts was 100%. The main reason they lost this game, 100%. But I got to get your thoughts, though.
Jalen was bad. He was terrible. He was all the negative adjectives you want to add towards him. But I would argue that Nick Sirianni's scheme was just as bad, if not worse, than Hurts' execution. Because quite frankly, you can only execute the plays that are on the play sheet. And the Giants DC, I don't remember his name at the time, but did an excellent job of forcing the Eagles to beat them with the pass. And he knew that the pass game was a little bit suspect. And quite frankly, if you're a head coach and you're seeing on the sideline that your quarterback is struggling in the passing game, and your opposing defense is making them try to force you to win from the pocket, and you know that your passing game is not that great, why are you not adjusting? Yes, I know you don't have Jordan Howard. Yes, Kelsey went out for a bit, then came back in, and he was struggling with the injuries. But you got to see what you're seeing on the field, and you got to adjust. And the fact that Sirianni really didn't adjust to the game plan that the defensive coordinator for the Giants had is a lot more telling than the execution. The execution was bad. I mean, you can't throw 3 interceptions and then expect to win a football game. I know Lamar Jackson won 4 against the Browns, but then again, the Browns really didn't capitalize on those opportunities. The Giants kind of did, and they had opportunities to win, and the execution was just not there. The scheming was just bad. There were times where DeVonta Smith was wide open, but that he wasn't the read. And that's scheming. That's not execution. That's scheming. That's scheming your top receiver to be like the second or third read on a route where it's so easily wide open. And honestly, it was just bad all around. Hurts was bad. Sirianni's scheme was bad. I think it was worse because this is not the first time that Sirianni's scheme has been bad. I will argue that this is Hurts' first really, really bad game, because there have been times where Hurts has overcome Sirianni's bad schemes. But this time it was, I think Sirianni hampered Hurts' execution right there. There were some dumb decisions by Hurts, but
I I understand where you're coming from, and I know it wasn't incredible schemes for Sirianni, but like on a couple of these passes, not more than a couple, Hurts had all day to throw, and he's just making bad throws. And part of it is like I watched some of his where he drops back and he has time, and for somebody maybe like a Justin Herbert or somebody with just better arm strength, can bullet some of these passes into his receivers, and Hurts is just like, it's barely getting there. And if the receiver or whoever it is makes the catch, it barely gets there. And it's because the receiver was so wide open. My whole thing is, man, Hurts, I understand the scheming thing, but Hurts had all day to throw. It's not like they were, rushing him like crazy, blitzing him like crazy. He had all day to throw. And when they did blitz or they did get pressure, Hurts made really bad throws or uncharacteristic too, though. Uncharacteristic, because I've seen him pass games where he's been a smart quarterback. The first, before this game, we had 5 picks through 11 games and now 3 picks. Just very, very uncharacteristic. And, but Hurts could have played so much better. So much better. Sorry.
Yeah, the biggest thing with me here is that you said it's very uncharacteristic. I mean, 5 picks through 11 games, and then suddenly he has 3 in a game. I think that's really the defense. I think it's really the defense coming in with a great game plan, and Nick Sirianni didn't adjust.
The Giants had a great defense. They had one of the bottom 10 defenses in football.
Bottom 10 defenses in football, but they had a great defensive scheme against Hurts. They knew that Hurts was athletic. They knew that they can beat him with the run. And so what did they do? They forced him to try to throw from the pocket. He had a clean pocket all day. Had it. I admit that.
You're saying Hurts, agree. Yeah.
Hurts had a clean pocket. Offensive line blocked really well, and he threw it. He rushed him. He wasn't. His timing was off. He wasn't accurate with his throws. He was like missing reads. I mean, like DeVonta is screaming for his life down on the field, saying, "Nah, I'm open," and he doesn't go to DeVonta. And I think that the way that the defensive coordinator for the Giants implemented that game plan kind of pressured Hurts, and it forced Hurts to play a game that he's not comfortable with. And I think Sirianni seeing that and not willing to adjust is awesome. Like, you can be a bottom 10 defense any day of the week, but have a good scheme, and that can throw off a better team. Have a good team and throw off a good team. That's all I'm saying. Nick Sirianni's scheme and his unwillingness to adjust was a bigger problem.
Listen, Ashley, 7 points against this Giants defense. 7 points. Not even being able to get double digits is embarrassing, and most of that is on Jalen Hurts. Listen, I know we're not going to ever agree on this, so I'm
not disagreeing with you. Here's the thing: I'm not disagreeing that Hurts' execution was bad. I'm saying that there's a little bit more to it than Nick Sirianni had an okay scheme, but Hurts just went out there and crapped the bed. Like, no, it was Nick Sirianni's unwillingness to adjust as well, and I think that was a bigger problem because not scoring 7 points against one of the worst defenses in football in the NFL currently is terrible. But I think that's a credit to the way that the defensive coordinator at the end for the Giants had that team prepared, and he knew that Jalen Hurts is very athletic, can beat teams with his legs, have beaten teams with the legs. The Eagles have been beating teams with the run, whether it was Jalen, whether it was Howard, whether it was Miles Sanders, and he had his team prepared. He knew that the passing game was a little bit weak, and they had issues forcing the ball down the field with the Eagles, not even with having DeVonta Smith and Quez Watkins. It wasn't consistent, and he knew that, and the defensive coordinator knew that going into the game, and he forced the Eagles to beat them with the pass, and they couldn't beat them with the pass.
Run the ball. Where's Barney? Run the ball. I'm sorry.
Run the ball, and that's on Nick Sirianni not adjusting the scheme.
I know, but the first one, that was like the first quarter and a half, and then they started to run the ball eventually. They started to run the ball eventually. But Hurts had his chances, and Hurts it was his worst game of his career, and it was on Hurts, in my opinion. All right, can we talk about DeVonta Smith? Let's talk about Jalen Reagor and Quez Watkins getting more targets than DeVonta Smith. Actually, why aren't we getting consistent production from DeVonta Smith? Please, what is the answer? Because it seems like he'll have a good game, and then he'll have a game like this where he has 2 catches for 22 yards. How can we possibly get consistent production from DeVonta?
I looked at the game and it's weird because he was targeted 7 times. So it wasn't like it was an abnormal target day. It was like right around the average that he's been having this season, 7 to 8 targets in a game. He had 7 targets, only 2 catches for 22 yards, no touchdowns, I believe. For Jalen Reagor and Quez Watkins to have more catches or more targets and catches than DeVonta is a little concerning. I want to say it's the scheming, but I also am not oblivious to the fact that DeVonta was screaming for his life out there, trying to get Jalen Hurts to give him the ball. So
I couldn't hear him screaming. You heard him screaming? I couldn't hear him screaming.
I heard him screaming. I think China heard him screaming. I want to say it's a combination of both. It's really weird for a rookie to have such an up and down trajectory when he was projected to be such a force and really help this offense this year. I mean, a lot of people when he got picked, we were saying this Eagles team is a 10-win team. That's even with a completely new coaching staff, and that I know that was a little bit of exaggeration from some fans,
sure.
but people have that much confidence in DeVonta Smith that his presence on the field was going to help this offense a lot, and we haven't seen that. I don't know if it's Sirianni just not trusting him and, he sees something in game and he's just targeting him less, or, Quez and Jalen are having better games in game, or I don't know what it is. What do you think it is? I can't figure it out.
Mean, my whole thing is you're going to hate to hear this, but part of it's Jalen. I mean, a big part of it's Jalen. I mean, if Jalen can make, like I said, this game against the Giants, if he can make these reads, and I know that that can take patience to let a quarterback develop. I can't even talk. I get all that, but I mean, to me, man, these are simple reads, and you can't. What was that? There was one throw. It wasn't the interception. There was one throw where he had somebody over the middle of the field, and clearly, I could see the safety coming over the top, and he just puts it right into double coverage, the safety coming over the top. And I'm like, come on, Jalen. I know you're still technically as a rookie quarterback, but you got to make these reads. And part of that, I think it speaks to DeVonta's not having consistent production because of Jalen. I hate to say it, but that's what it goes back to. I don't think it's all on Jalen. I think there is part of it, like we were talking about before, scheming. But I think most of it's on Jalen. Most of it is. And eventually, DeVonta might want another quarterback to come in so he can get the best production that he can get. So
I mean, DeVonta Smith was in the same room as Paul Tyson. It doesn't get much worse than Paul Tyson. I don't think he's going to call for another quarterback. I think that's a little extreme at this point in time.
No, I'm not saying that yet. I mean, I wouldn't like DeVonta if he did that. I wouldn't be a fan if he just he's not that type of guy. He's not that type
he's never been that type of guy. I think he at the end of the day, he's going to blame himself more than he's going to blame anyone around him. I think it's a mix of Nick Sirianni and the scheming and not really tapping into DeVonta's skill set yet. And I also think it's Jalen Hurts because some of those reads were abysmal. And I've been discussing his inconsistent with the reads and intelligence on the field. It's been up and down. I just think it's a bit of both, and it's really hampering DeVonta because if they can figure out a way for Hurts to really go through his progressions correctly, and of course that takes time, and then Sirianni to find a good way to tap into DeVonta's skill set, I think that this offense is in a lot better position. But that also takes time. But
it does. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh well, don't give the guy any chance at all. The development and patience are important, but I don't know. I don't see it, Ashley. But that has been another episode of the Rent Check. We will be back next week. Sorry, we had a little Thanksgiving break. We were at the game. We were basically the reason they won that game against the Saints. Right, Ashley? So, but we're back. We're back in full form. We're here for the home stretch. I know, Ashley, we might have to miss a few episodes again because she has finals, and we have to respect that. She's a superstar. So, she's just as big of a superstar as Bryce Young.
Absolutely not. I'm not making seven figures. I'm not doing that. I will be here throughout finals week. I only have one legit
I'm
final.
just making the excuses just in case it does happen. And if it doesn't happen, then you're here, and then it's like, yes, she's here. So
yes, I will be here until I am not allowed to be here.
all right, that's another episode of the Run Check. Till everybody, till I can't speak. Till next week, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Go Birds.